made $1 million by the time I was 25, my first million.
Your first million on your first business.
By the time I was 25.
One of the most important things for young people is not to be told what they can do, but to see what they can do.
I'm equipped to do it. I'm born to do it.
Yes.
I ain't worried about what nobody else is doing. Do it. Because technology is a partnership. And I had to travel the world to find out that simple statement. It's reliable and it's simple for the field, but yet powerful.
Dr. Traci, welcome to the table.
There has only been one other woman in direct selling in this space. One other woman that's had success at a $1 million level. You know who it is?
Who?
Madam C.J. Walker 100 years ago. Surely if she made $1 million 100 years ago, I had to make 100 million.
You know, I say this often, the number one rising entrepreneur in America today, or not the number one rising woman, but the number one rising entrepreneur is a Black woman.
Yes.
And while I am so excited about that, as a Black man, it makes me be like, dang, brothers, what are we doing? When you have single mothers, when you have, mothers who are wives, who are still coming home, working full-time jobs, and then building a business on the side, like they are making things work.
Yes.
And a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to speak out in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and there was this amazing Black woman walks out on stage, and I mean, the place erupted. They started barking, they were standing up, and I leaned over to the pastor, Bishop Henry Fernandez, and said, well, who is this woman? And he was like, oh, you about to see. And she was hosting a panel. And so, a host normally asks the questions. But this host was asking the questions and giving insight and dropping bombs with tweets. And I was like, wait, what in the world? And as I started doing my research as she was talking, this amazing queen built $100 million business through jewelry, speaking engagements, and businesses. And now she's traveling the world and teaching younger ladies how to do what she did. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not prolonging this anymore because we have the one and only Dr. Traci Lynn in the building at the table today to drop us some nuggets on how we can build a business. And ladies and guys, I know this is a woman teaching other ladies, but don't get it twisted. I've learned a lot from her already, from myself. Just before the show, she turned me on to something. I was like, wait a minute, I'm taking notes. I'm going to do it as soon as we get done with this. I'm calling my attorney. I'm putting this into play. So I don't care who you are, where you are, what you are going to get something today. But before we get to my dear sister, Dr. Traci, do not forget that 70% of you all are still dating me right now. And I think I'm a good looking Black man. Okay? And I need you to marry me. And I don't mean this in a physical standpoint. I mean, can you hit that subscribe button and join this amazing community that we're building called the E3 community, where we are expanding in the areas of abundance, wellness, and freedom in our life. And I really want to be a part of a community that are like-minded with you. If you're ready for financial freedom, if you want more time to enjoy with your friends, if you're ready to start a business, if you're ready to get out of debt, if you're just ready to change your future, I want you to hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching this on YouTube or even if you're listening to this on our podcast channels, because I don't know where else you're gonna get this kind of information from. You may see some of my guests on other shows, but man, I specifically talk to them about money. How did they do what they do when it comes around money? And today, we're gonna really help you out with abundance, actually in wellness, and freedom with Dr. Traci. Dr. Traci, welcome to the table for the first time.
Well, I'm glad to be at the table. Look, I'm glad to be at the table. I'm looking at the microphone like, where's my camera? So it's like, we got a whole lot going on here in this studio. It's fabulous. And so glad that I flew in here. just for you today.
Hey, listen, that means a lot. Yeah. It really does, because I know you have a very busy schedule. You're in a high demand, and I've seen you, on major stages. And what's so funny is I've seen you before, I just didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, you were just with my friends over there, Keon and Shawnee. You spoke for Shawnee Henderson.
Yep.
You spoke for Bishop Henry Fernandez, and there's some other people I got to connect you with to get you on their stage.
Yes.
But today you're at the table.
I'm at the table.
The table.
Do I pull the chair closer up?
No, because I'm going to come closer to you. Don't get it twisted. But Dr. Traci, you and I want to dive straight in, because you've built something that 99% of the world will not build.
Yeah.
And they will not build it. They won't build it not because they don't have the capabilities of building it, but because they don't have the exposure and the wisdom on how to build it. And we had my good friend Latasha on the show, and she was talking about how the obstacles African Americans and Black people have to get over, and clearly there were some obstacles you had to get over from being Black, and then not just being Black, being a woman who's Black, and on top of that being a Christian Black woman.
Yes.
But you've done things that only 1% of the world will do. And I want to go back and talk from the very beginning of your journey. What sparked that? Like, who is not Dr. Traci, who is Traci? Yeah. And what made you go and have this mindset of, I want to go after that?
So my grandmother, that it starts somewhere, what you see in the house. So my grandmother, I call her Sweet Janie May.
Sweet Janie.
Yeah, Sweet Janie was super fashionable. On the ball, had her own house, her own car. She was married to my grandfather. I never met him, but he was extremely abusive. So she didn't drive. She came from Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Okay.
So she didn't drive. She didn't have a license, and she lived in the house with 6 children and dealt with all of that abuse.
Wow.
And one day, she made a decision that I can do more. I don't have to put up with this.
Yeah.
So while he was at work, she took driving lessons with a friend. Then she went with my aunt to learn where to go to buy clothes and resell them. She had style. Wow. And everybody always wanted, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Wow. So she decided to sell clothes.
Okay.
So she sold clothes, took the driver's lessons, got enough money to get a car that she hid for 6 months, and then she bought her own house. Bought a house double the size of the house she lived in with her husband.
What?
Yeah, she bought a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom home, detached, because everything was a row home, and the street was this big.
Yeah.
But she went on to a wide street.
Yeah.
50th Street was a big street, and it was a biracial. It was a mixed, integrated street. And where she came from in South Philly, that's not the case.
Right.
So she's on this wide street, 5 bedrooms, semi-detached home, and she bought it. Financed it, don't know how she did it, got a car, and when she went to get the kids from school, she was in her new car, picked everybody up, took them to the new house, had somebody over there, had some men watching the house, so if daddy came, her husband, so he knew, he heard that there was some folks there waiting if he came by, so he never came. He never came. Because she knew, she had everything covered. Wow. She understood, she didn't run and hide.
Wow.
She ran to live.
Wow.
Now, I didn't witness that.
Okay.
Because I wasn't born.
Right.
But I witnessed her living her life just unashamed and big in those times, driving bigger and bigger cars.
Wow.
Lincoln, single woman,
wow.
Selling clothes. So at 4, I was her assistant.
Recently, I've completed my full estate plan, and it's been an emotional journey, if I'm going to be honest with you. But now I have a peace of mind knowing that my family and loved ones are well taken care of. But here's something you may not know that I think you need to know. According to a recent study, nearly 60% of African American adults have life insurance. Now, wait a minute. Many of these policies may not provide sufficient coverage to fully protect their families in case of unexpected deaths. This lack of adequate coverage is a pressing issue among the Black community. It can lead to financial difficulties and potentially hinder the building of generational wealth. In today's time, it's more important than ever for African Americans to give priority to life insurance and estate planning. You see, by doing so, you can ensure that your loved ones are secure in the event of your passing. This covers funeral and burial costs, clears all debts and mortgages, and provides a financial cushion to help them continue building wealth, long-lasting wealth. Don't leave your family's financial future to chance. I want you to secure life insurance today. I want you to get a free life insurance quote through my friends at Ethos. All you gotta do is go to anthonyoneal.com/life insurance. Again, that is anthonyoneal.com/life insurance for your free quote, or click the link in today's show notes. Protect your family's future and attain a peace of mind. Act right now, and let's get back to today's show.
So instead of at 4 years old, I was her assistant. She said I was always smart. You know, I'm an only child, but she just said I was smart. I had it.
Yeah.
And she took me with her. So instead of going to Miss Queenie's daycare like all the kids, I went with Janie. And we went to see the customers. So my job was to remember where we were going, I'm good with directions, and how much they owed us. So I've been counting money since I was 4. So that was my job. And I went, hi, Mrs. Ogletree, hi, Mrs. Jessie, Mrs. Clarice. I still know the ladies' names. And she was shopping, and she'd start taking me shopping. And I'd be hiding in the clothes rack, doing crazy stuff. But she just let me sit in there, and I'm watching her. She was good. She was good at choosing and picking and selling. She kept records of who owed, told me the amounts, and I remembered. So I learned, I was developed as an entrepreneur since I was 4 years old.
Wow.
Since I was 4. Now, I'm my mother's only child, so in my mother's mind, I needed to be either a doctor, a lawyer, this is her exact words, or Indian chief to be successful. She didn't want to hear about that entrepreneurial journey.
Wow.
She wanted me, so I went to the University of Michigan in Dearborn.
Okay.
I did those things. I was going to go to medical school, but fainted at the sight of blood every time I saw it.
Me too.
You too. So,
yes.
But my mother, I told her the other day. I said, you always said. She said, I know, doctor, lawyer, or a chief. I said, you were raising a chief, a chief executive officer. You didn't even know it, but you were raising a chief the entire time. So all of that came back full circle. Everything I learned from my grandmother, that's exactly who I am. My grandmother is good-hearted, good-natured, but fabulous, super smart, unassuming, but she got it.
But when I hear the story of your grandmother, which is so encouraging, how did that impact your mother? Was your upbringing was it on the rough side? Was it on the great side? Was it in the middle? Like we lived, it wasn't bad, neither was it rich. Like how was your raising?
That?
Yeah.
So Janie Mae, when I was with her, so my mother being a young woman, went out to Detroit, did her thing, but left me with grandmother.
That's it.
So she left me there for all of grade school. So we had a good life with Janie Mae.
Yes.
And so 8th grade, after graduation, my grandmother thought it was time now that I go live in Detroit with my mother.
Okay.
But that was the rough side. That was the rough side. You know, mother was on public assistance, so we had to eat that government cheese, that canned peanut butter, that stuff that you can't talk. You want your kids to be quiet.
Just
you give them that peanut butter, stuck to the roof of the mouth. So that was that. And what I learned, I remember saying to my mother, "Well, let me go to the welfare office with you." She said, "You will never go and see this. My mistakes have nothing to do with who you are.
Come on, Mom.
You will never see this."
Come on.
She had to dumb it down, put a crazy scar. I'd never seen her look so bad, but she said the worse she looked, the more she got. So she said, I will never share that. You don't need to know it because you're going to have a housekeeper. You're going to have a cook. I do have a housekeeper. I do. I had a housekeeper as long as I can remember.
Wow.
I love to cook now.
Yeah.
But when I did have someone prepare meals.
Yeah.
So everything she told me, she was a wise woman. She said, you will never pay for my mistakes because you're special.
Yeah.
You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And she would drive me around to all the big homes.
Yeah.
She would show me. We didn't live in it, but she would show me what it was. The neighborhoods out in Detroit, way out in the suburbs. we take a drive so that I could get vision. She understood that I was the kind, if I could see it, I can do it.
You know, this is so refreshing to hear this, because I believe that one of the most important things for young people is not to be told what they can do, but to see what they can do.
Absolutely.
And you saw it from grandmama, and even from your mom, because even though she wasn't technically doing it, she made sure she still exposed you to it.
100%.
Man. I want to talk about the business that you've built, and you've built businesses, right? And so you got into the jewelry business that America knows you for.
But they don't know me for the first iteration. I've had 3 iterations.
So what? Okay, let's talk about that, because I don't know you for the first 3.
Exactly. Exactly.
What were the first 3 before you struck gold?
Exactly. And I always want to bring that out about the iterations, because if you don't strike gold, you think that's not your purpose. That's not what God said. But sometimes we are in position before it's really time, or there's training. There's a process to get you ready. So when the time really comes, you standing in that thing flat-footed, ready, ain't going nowhere.
Come on now,
That's the training that most people will never get, because they have no perseverance. They won't stay when they need to.
Yes.
And I had that first iteration, made $1 million by the time I was 25, my first million.
Your first million on your first business.
By the time I was 25.
What industry was that in?
Jewelry.
Jewelry.
In my purpose. It was in my gift.
Wow.
I was in my gift when I did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, so were the first 3 iterations jewelry?
See, that's why people won't do it, because or jewelry ain't for me. Because then I went from jewelry in the first iteration, I got talked out of it.
Okay.
So first iteration, things are going well, but then there was an iteration of clothing before that and some other things. But when I got to jewelry, I'm just gonna stick with jewelry for the sake of time.
Right.
25, made $1 million.
Okay.
Selling jewelry that I bought on the streets of New York. Didn't even change the name cards. Put it up in a little showroom that I got.
Okay.
Couple hundred square, wasn't even, I don't even know if it was 50 square feet. I don't even, it was small.
Yeah.
People came in. I always had this thing in me to not just do it myself. If I could have other people do it with me.
Yes.
I always thought like that. Let's do it as a group, because it was only so many hours in a day.
Yes.
There's only so much I could do in a day.
Yes.
So I always had that thinking and didn't have words to put to it
Yes.
yet.
Yes.
Didn't have the J. Paul Getty, if I can get 1% of 100 people's efforts, then 100% of my own. I didn't know that slogan. I didn't know that saying back then.
Right.
But it had something in me that said, don't do it just yourself, wholesale it. Let other ladies come in. They can buy it wholesale, and then they can resell it. So you can stay focused on what you love to do, which is buy it and come up with strategies for them. I would go in the salon, so I would test all my strategies. And then I teach them how to sell it. So I buy it, strategize it, then bring them in and do it. Then I would raffle off a mink coat for the top sellers. I'd raffle off a cruise. Just doing stuff just came to me. No studying. But then I heard one of the women who was older than me at the time, because I'm 25.
Yes, ma'am.
And so she might have been 35, almost 40, had a child in college. I overheard her trying to overthrow me, saying, we could all do this. Let's cut her out. And I could hear it. I had this doorbell put in before ring. And I could pick it up and hear, so I could buzz you in from down there.
Right.
So I'm listening, and she's out there waiting for everybody to come out. A few people said, you know what, I'm not interested. But a lot of people stood there and listened to her plans to overthrow me and start doing what I was doing for them. That thing broke my spirit.
Heck yeah, you put money in their pocket.
And I was giving extra money for her to help her son. I had children, I'm 25, and I wanted to help get him through college. And so that just, I couldn't do the business anymore.
So you quit?
I did.
Because of that?
I did. Yeah.
And bet you she was happy.
She was, and started the business and failed in 2 months.
In 2 months? That wasn't her calling?
No.
It wasn't her anointing?
No. And I told God, please don't bring this jewelry thing. I'm done with all this. So I started traveling with Les Brown as a speaker, his opening speaker.
Yes.
So I started traveling with him, and I work with Les. So I said, oh, this is it. This is my real call.
Right.
It's speaking, because I loved it. And then I was doing that. Then I started working for a seminar company, doing more speaking. And then people started asking me, well, do you have anything I can join? How do I stay in touch with you? How do I buy, okay, I got a tape. Okay, pass the tape. How can you mentor me? How can you mentor me? And I'm like 26, 27. I'm like, I don't know. So I do jewelry again.
Oh, yes.
So I do it again. This time I'm doing it, it's going well, but I run out of money. Because now I want to do a catalog. And then I'm going to do a catalog. Then I opened up a showroom in Baltimore, Cold Spring Lane.
Cold Spring?
Yeah, Cold Spring.
Yeah.
All my people are DMV people.
I see where you at.
So I came to Baltimore, opened up a showroom, hired some people, but couldn't get the jewelry here, had no logistics training. So once I left that, I said, you know what, there is something out there big for me, but for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a franchise. I'm gonna buy a franchise so I can learn systems, processes, and strategies.
Come on.
I don't have nobody in my family who ever taught me systems, processes, and strategies. I've already made $1 million. I'm 28. I lost $1 million.
Yeah.
I need to learn some things.
Yeah.
I bought one franchise.
Yeah.
Franchise. Oars saw I was a great franchisee.
Okay.
Offered me another opportunity. I bought 2.
Okay.
Offered me another opportunity. I had 3. I had 3 stores. Not only did I have the stores, I bought the real estate attached to the store. So if I ever sold the stores, I own the real estate. If the stores ever went out of business, I own commercial real estate. So I bought my real estate. And so I'm learning franchising, and I could see all the flaws. I see why I ran out of money. I see what happened. I could see it through my franchises. But the issue was, with 3 franchises, I still only got to $989,000 with 3 stores. I did $1 million by myself with jewelry at 25.
Right.
And a prophet came to me and said, I see you. You are a multimillionaire, and you already know it. But what you're doing now, you don't see it. Now, he get ready to lay hands. I'm about to pass out because I'm listening to this word because it's good to me. Finally, we're getting to these multi-millions.
Yeah.
And he laying his hand. He said, and it's not the Rita's Italian Ice franchise. And I'm like, my eyes. I stood up. I was like saying to myself, it's got to be. He said, no, it's a part of the gift. It's something that you haven't even really tapped into, and it has your name on it. So after that, I decided to try jewelry one more time. One more time. So I left the franchises in the hands of my husband. He was working for the airlines, U.S. Airways at that time. Retired him out early
to come run
the franchises.
Okay.
My mother was running the franchise, so we've always been a family business.
That's so.
And we work together well as a family.
That's so good.
And so my husband was running the franchises. My mother, she ran one store. He ran the other 2, and I started the jewelry business again. But ask me what was different.
You had the system, processes, and strategies.
I had that, but I was different.
Yes, ma'am.
I had developed a bulletproof shell.
Yes, ma'am.
You couldn't talk me out of it.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't care what you said.
You
wasn't going to stop me this time.
Ooh.
I had grown. So, yeah, I did have the systems, the processes, and the strategies.
Yeah.
But I found out who I was.
Ooh. So if I'm hearing you correctly, the first time around, you didn't know who you were.
No, I wouldn't even say it was me. I said I was Traci Yearwood. I would never claim myself. They said, "Are you Traci Lynn?" No, because nobody believed I was. I couldn't be. So I couldn't be. So I said no. I got articles in the paper that I use today that shows a different name.
A different name.
Yep.
Building something and you wouldn't even say, this is me.
No. I couldn't stand up to that.
Oh my God.
I wasn't her. I couldn't hold it.
Traci, that's a whole nother road we can go down.
I know.
Because how many people right now can't even stand up to themselves?
I know. I couldn't hold it. So the best way for me to live in it is not be her. I'm the manager. But that's why I could walk away all them times. Until the day I said, oh, no, I am.
And because I am, it has to work.
It has to work. I'm called to do this.
Yeah.
I'm equipped to do it. I'm born to do it.
Yes.
I ain't worried about what nobody else is doing. Do it.
Yeah.
You ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And as a result, there has only been one other woman in direct selling in this space. One other woman that's had success at a $1 million level. You know who it is?
Who?
Madam C.J. Walker 100 years ago. It's Madam and me.
Yo, that's before your time. Come on now.
100 years ago.
Come on.
Madam and me. Surely if she made $1 million 100 years ago, I had to make 100 million.
Come on. Listen, I'm telling you right now, your story is so impactful. Because you're encouraging me.
Good.
You know, sitting here like, okay, wait. Madam C.J. Markham made $1 million during that hard time.
1915.
Right. And then you come in, you make $100 million. There's no excuses for me.
No excuses. Not when you got the capacity that you have.
Right.
You can hold it.
Right.
You had to decide, I'm going to hold it. Just like me, I had capacity.
Yeah.
I made a decision not to hold it.
Yeah.
I
There's someone watching right now saying, okay, I hear you. This is all encouraging. This is great. But Dr. Traci, I got a whole son at home that I'm raising by myself. I'm not getting help from his daddy. I'm not married. I don't have a husband to help run the business. My mama doesn't even agree with what I want to do. Your mama told you to go be a chief, a doctor, an attorney. Right. So what I hear in my spirit from people watching this saying is, okay, how do I get there as far as in comfortable inside of me to go do what I know I'm called to do, what's inside of me, but I got life around me. I'm a single mother. I got a full-time job. I don't really even believe in my own self. How do we go from there to not 100 million to just starting? And again, how many iterations did I have? Oh yeah, I got a divorce in between all that. So you talking about just dump it on us.
Yeah. So I got a divorce in between all that. So all of that. So life will always be lifing around us.
Yes, ma'am.
And when people, so my job today, is what happens when you've built something like that? When you built dynasties, you look at the Deion Sanders, the Dawn Staleys. What do? They built great things. Now they come back and coach it. So the people don't need to go through 3 iterations of themselves. You get with people who can help collapse that curve. You need the right voice in your life to tell you what you can do and not allow you to lay there in them excuses. You tell me Madam Walker in 1950, a black woman can make $1 million? Surely. Come on. She had to ride in the train or a car everywhere she went.
Yes.
That's how she got around. And she made $1 million, built a house up there with the Rockefellers in them.
Rockefellers.
In New York. Built a house worth millions back then.
Yes.
I always remembered that house cost $2 million. So surely I had to have one for 15. Come on. I didn't have a madam talking to me.
Come on.
I made friends with her great-great-great-granddaughter who wrote a book. We were friends, so I had to hear about madam through her book and vicariously through the stories that she heard passed down. That's why I decided to coach. I need to help the people who need to hear that right voice in their ear, because excuses will keep you where you are. Decisions will make you move one step. That's what they need to do.
Make a decision.
Make a decision. I bootstrapped. It was like somebody came and said, ooh, we're going to give you all this money, even for my franchises.
Right.
I had to get a loan against the house.
Wow.
Stuff I would not do today as a business owner.
Right.
When you bootstrap, I had to use them credit cards. Come on. Stuff I would not be telling folks to do today.
Yeah.
But I knew.
You knew.
When I learned them systems, strategies, and processes.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I knew who I was, if I could turn around and do a cartwheel for you right now, I'd do it. Because that changed everything. Money started being attracted to me.
Yeah.
The right banker started being attracted to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the right accountant started being attracted to me. Unfortunately, the IRS got attracted. Here they come.
And you put me on game about the IRS before this show.
Listen,
that helped me. That changed my whole life.
Well, yeah. I survived it. You see?
Yes.
I survived it.
Yeah.
So when I'm telling you, there is no silver spoon. This is all bootstrap, get it done, make it happen, make decisions, people against you. You got a coup outside your door.
Yeah.
But what did God say? If everybody is against you and he is for you, you better go head on.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
We're coming to the end of this show.
Already?
You got to.
I didn't say nothing yet.
Yo, we got some more time. You walked out and they started barking.
Yeah, they did.
You walked out. And I mean, them ladies jumped up like you were the First Lady of the United States of America, saluted you with a bark. Let's go. I know what it is, but I want people to understand how impactful you are and what you're bringing to the table, because I've never seen that in my life. A woman walks out, you hear claps. This woman walks out, it's I'm like, wait, what? I'm thinking you an Omega Sci-Fi or something. I'm like, what?
All day.
Right, I'm like, okay, is she a Delta or the brothers in here bargaining?
Right.
And I'm looking around, it's the lady. I'm like, what in the world? Where does the bark come from?
Yeah, so in 2020, right?
Yeah.
At COVID, I was Bishop. We had to go to streaming services and all of that. So coming out of 2020, 2021, towards the end, we started to open up churches, and Bishop asked me to come and minister. He had to. It was like the Christmas service, and he couldn't be there.
Okay.
And I had been talking to someone that I should not have been talking to. Okay. A wrong voice in my ear.
Okay.
And the woman was saying, well, you know, I don't know if you're really strong enough as a speaker, as a minister, and I don't really So he was asking, and I was like, no, but he was in a situation, and I wasn't going to let him down.
Right.
So I got up there.
Okay.
And the anointing hit. It was an awesome service, and he was like, yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to get back up because the person that was in my ear watched it. You told the people that you built 7 homes. Well, I did.
Right.
Well, what were the 7? I'm like, okay, you don't believe me. So I told the person what I told her what to say. Oh, but you know, you shouldn't be saying that. You don't tell. So just that. So for 2 years, from 20, that started in 20, then I did the ministry 21. So I stopped talking. I stopped talking until 23, when Bishop forced me basically to do the women's panel.
Wait, you went 2 years without speaking?
Nope. I wouldn't talk. I said no to everybody, including him. I wouldn't speak.
Lives were impacted.
I couldn't talk. I felt I felt I couldn't get anything out. Couldn't get anything out, and the thing I should have done, I should have gone to my pastor. I should have gone to Bishop, told him so we could pray and get this thing moved on. I didn't say a word, but let me tell you how good God is, because lives needed to be touched.
Yes, ma'am.
So 23, he had the Max conference. Shawnee Henderson was she was the MC. She was the moderator of the panel. It was me, Dee Dee, myself, and April Osteen, Joel's sister.
Yes.
And we're sitting there. But a month before that, because I mean, I was going to do this panel. He was advertising it. I was going through, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? And my dog, Coco, is a Belgian, long-haired, beautiful shepherd. Beautiful shepherd.
Yes.
And Coco's about 90-some pounds now.
Okay.
And when she was a baby, a puppy, she used to love the mirror. She would go in our old house before we built the new house. She was always in the mirror, licking the mirror, barking at herself, fighting with herself in the mirror. And my son happened to bring the mirror to Coco. She looked in it and cried and ran. And I heard the Holy Spirit said, she forgot that she was a big dog now. She ain't seen herself. She's only seen herself as a puppy. She's never seen the image of the big dog that she grew into. And the Lord spoke to me, you forgot who you are. You are a big dog. And you running around, sitting here with your mouth closed like you some puppy that somebody can tell what to do? No, you are a big dog. Well, I got on that stage and I shared that story, and I ended with, and I'm a big dog, wolf, and all the women, wolf, wolf, wolf. So it impacted for all the women who have been shut down, who are sitting back, who have let somebody speak crazy in your life and you believed it. We took our power back that day. So that's what they were barking for. Like, that's me. And they told me, I barked, I got it out. I got free with that bark. I'm free. I am a big dog. Woof.
Listen, when I tell you that, I've never sat in an audience and paid that much attention to nobody before until that day, simply because of how they greeted you, because it is fruit of your ministry.
Yes.
That a year later, people are barking at you and at your success.
Still.
To this day.
I spoke Sunday at, for Bishop's birthday. We did something. I did a little presentation, and that room erupted in barks. The women stood up. We barked. So it's not, it's not. You got to know what that story is. It's a freedom. It's like I agree. I will not. Be silenced. I will not sit back. I will not shut up and dribble. I'm going to come out here, bring all my gifts to bear, bring them on the floor, come strong, come with it. I'm going to do it.
In this generation we see a lot of strong black ladies growing up. And we don't see a lot of men next to these strong black ladies. When I was on the panel sitting down, I was looking down at you and I saw your husband sitting next to you.
Yes.
And that man was cheering for you. When you was on the panel, he was sitting right there next to you, holding that hand. And you don't know this, but I saw y'all walking away and your husband was right there by your side. And I was like, wow, like how, with you being so successful, so strong, so motivating, so empowering, what could you give advice to a woman who's building something of substantial? Because I see that ring he has on your hand, my God. I mean, my God. I mean, my God. how does partnership look like for you today in what you're building, and what are you teaching? Because you're literally spending this next season of your life after you've built this huge business. You're teaching other ladies how to build and how to become that grown person and take authority of their lives.
Yes.
And I love that you're doing it as a married woman, because I think that sometimes, you know, they hear the Beyonce song, all my single ladies, you know, but Beyonce's married.
Yep.
To a strong black man.
Absolutely.
You're married to a strong black man.
Yes.
How do you still be who you are and still have a healthy relationship? Not a perfect one, because none of us have perfect relationships, but how do you still build and be so empowering and make all this money and still have a healthy relationship with your husband?
Well, we will be celebrating 30 years.
30 years?
30 years of marriage. And
Wait.
Yep.
30 years?
30 years. Yep. 30 years in about a month. Yep, 30 years.
Traci, this means he was with you, right when you started the business.
The second iteration.
The second iteration?
I was married to another man on the first iteration.
And we ain't worried about it.
But he was there. Wow. He was there on that second iteration. He was right there.
And you can say no to this. It's open curve. Do you think he ever grew envy, like, dang, that's not me growing this thing?
No, that was the beauty of it. He's just super supportive. And one time he told me, and those are these moments, and I wonder if he really remembers this. Back in our earlier days, I was really discouraged from the second iteration before we got the franchises. And I just didn't want to do anything. And he said, if I had half the gifts you have, you know what I would do with them? But here you are with all these gifts, and you sitting back feeling sorry for yourself. So I realized, okay, he said, if I had only half, so he knows. So he always understood his role, to support and to help build the businesses. He was never envious. He was always right there grinning, and people always say, he loves you.
Yeah.
He sits and he smiles.
He does.
He just smiles at me. That's why it's 30 years. And I always understood who he is. He is the head of the house.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
I am the wife. I am not the husband.
Oh.
So I'm the kitten at the house now. and I cook. I'm an excellent cook.
You cook?
Yeah, today, back in the days when I was, working all them crazy hours, I wasn't cooking. But today, oh, no. I'm chef-style cooking. Oh, yeah, I ain't just cooking. I'm chefing it. And he's loving that. I'm bodybuilding.
Oh, come on.
At my age.
Yeah.
And he's loving that.
I'm sure he is.
I'm sure he is. He said, wow, I ain't seen a body like, you weren't even like this 30 years ago. So, he's my covering.
Ooh.
And listen, ladies, big money women, come on, big boss.
Ooh.
You need a covering.
Ooh.
You need somewhere to go when it gets real crazy out there. And if you're gonna make that kind of money, it's gonna get real crazy out there. I needed a safe place. He was my safe place. We come in, we shut the doors. He had it, but nothing coming across there. He was the protector. So he was the covering that I needed. I didn't want to be out there without my covering.
Come on.
And every time I got on the big stages for my jewelry business, we were out in Vegas, and we had we had thousands and thousands of women, and he came out there. I would never enter a stage without him on my side.
Come on.
I didn't need you applauding for me.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I need him to let him know how much I couldn't get that applause if it had not been for his support. So we had to go out on them stages together. No, that's my covering.
I want to let that just sit right there.
Yeah, we're gonna sit right there. And we share the money. We don't look at it. He'll never hear me. I made this money. You ain't made. I have never. I wish I would part my lips to say something like that, because you don't make all that by yourself. It's a team effort. You don't make millions by yourself. It's a team effort. And that's one of the reasons why I believe we're so blessed, because understood that lesson. I understood it. I wasn't trying to take that man's manhood. I needed him to be a man. All the time.
The fact that you said it was your gifts that allowed you to make that gave you the capability of making that money, but I needed him to even understand that I had those gifts because he saw the gifts technically before you did.
Yes, he did.
He was like, yo, listen, if I had half.
That's what he said.
Like, so he saw it before you understood it.
Yep. He told me that 29 years ago. Wow. So I already knew this was a gem for me. Because he wasn't trying to compete with me.
No.
He wasn't trying to be me.
No.
Any role that I needed him in, that's what he was willing to do. And he was willing to pick up our son, from school and get him his homework, get him fed, and do all of that while I'm still at work. And he's still the man. I appreciate. Listen.
Nah, and I always look at that because I think a lot of ladies think that men are intimidated by successful women.
No.
We're not intimidated by successful women. It's just, how are you treating us as a successful woman?
We had a friend, they didn't stay married long, but the woman would always say stuff like, can you clean the pool? I got to buy the pool and clean it. Oh, I got to buy all the food and cook it. I was like, oh, how long is that going to last?
Not long.
Not long.
Not long for no black man.
No, it didn't even last a year.
Nah, it won't last. It won't last. Men are not, I don't think most men are intimidated. Are there some? Yes. But I think most men, and I watched, when I learned about who you are, and I said, okay, let me see how she treat her husband. Man, listen, I was like, oh, this woman love this man.
Yes.
And you're so right, because every time I looked at him, he was smiling, he was green. When he came up, when I got done speaking, he was, man, that was dope, man. Man, that was good, man.
Yeah.
And he spent time to get to know me, very talkative in a good way, like asking questions and engaging. And then he told me more about what you all have been able to build. And I was like, yo, okay, y'all two are truly in relation.
Absolutely.
Like, y'all love each other.
Yes.
You weren't even in the room yet because you were still with Pastor Didi and them. And he just came in there with just really talking more about you, what all you do. I knew about the Les Brown thing before you even said it because he was telling me.
See, that's my point. That's what he does. I won't even tell people stuff. He sells stuff for me.
That's what
he
I'm
be
saying.
selling people into my stuff, and I don't even be talking about it. And he talks about it more because he always says we're one.
Yeah.
And he's like, I married you for life.
Come on.
So we better figure it out. If we ain't agreeing, we better get to an agreement because we in it for life. And we laugh all the time. Laugh. He's my best friend.
Man.
And he was really praying for me when he knew I was going through that whole thing and not talking. He knew how that was affecting me. So he was praying for me. And that little Coco, my big dog, that little analogy what the Lord showed me brought me right on through that.
Right on. Man, listen. Y'all, this is Dr. Traci. And I was so inspired by her tremendously, by what she's doing. And I don't bring a lot of people on who have like masterminds and all this type of stuff because I think some of it could be a bunch of fluff. But I've witnessed and I've seen personally the fruit of what this woman can do. And I am a firm believer that if you want to go to the next level, you can't go there alone. And you not only do you need a covering when you're married, but then you also need a good mentor when you're married. And so we're going to drop all her information inside of the show notes. Check out some of her material. Check out some of her classes, her mentorship programs. If you have a business, jewelry business, hair business, any kind of business, I want you to give her a shout out and check out her content. Go check out her Instagram, because when someone's built something of that magnitude, I promise you, you will learn something from them. And every year I've joined 2 groups to go in there to learn, to grow, to evolve. And watch this, I didn't just learn from the person who hosted it, I actually learned a lot from even the people that was in it. So it's like I was able to rub elbows with people who were on my same level, but probably in different areas higher that could teach me to bring me up. And then I'm over here, and I'm getting higher, and I'm getting higher, and I'm getting higher. So I just want to encourage you all to just check her out. Check out her information. I promise you it's going to be a blast. We could talk for 2 hours, man.
Yeah.
All of our guests here recently, man, we just could have been, I mean, from Sarah Jakes to Latasha to you. I've scaled back on bringing a lot of guests on my show because I really want to make sure that the guests that I bring in, it is of value.
Yes.
And it's not just a show. And I'm doing more teaching from a money place. And so I don't take this lightly that you're here. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for leaving your husband, your family, the beautiful weather of Florida.
Yes, the weather is good here today, though.
It is good.
It is good.
I'm going to try and play some golf around 5:30, 6 o'clock when I get off.
I hope you do.
But thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I felt this was an honor, and I was glad to do it. I was actually very excited about the invitation.
No, I appreciate you for that because you don't do a lot. I looked it up. You don't have a whole lot of interviews out there.
I don't, and it's not like I don't get requests.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, I love the interview you did with my girl Brandy Harvey. That was amazing.
Wasn't that a great interview?
That was amazing. And I mean, so I see how you move, and so for you to be here, I consider that an extreme honor, honestly. So thank you so much. We'll drop her Instagram, you guys, and her information in today's show notes. Go follow her. I promise you, you will be blessed. All right, we'll see you in the next show. Peace out.